This is SB 452, we call the Parent Empowerment Act. And before I get started, you made some comments, Madam Chair, at the beginning of my last bill, and I would just note that the report that you referred does not apply to this. It did reply to the last one, but not this one. Okay. This bill is very straightforward, but I believe very important. Current law, known as the Parent Empowerment Act, is a landmark education law inspired by President Obama's Race to the Top initiative that allows parents to make real changes in their school if their school is, one, low performing, and two, at least 50% of parents sign a petition to subject their school to reform. Hollywood even made a movie out of it called Won't Back Down. The original law excluded some of California's lowest performing schools from participating in the program, and this bill would give those schools access to the Parent Empowerment Act. Schools like East Valley Senior High in Los Angeles, where fewer than 24 students graduated prepared for college in 2012. This bill expands access to this program to schools who really need it. Current law establishes a cap of 75 total schools that may appeal to the program, and this bill does not change that. That's important to note. The bill does not change the 75 school cap. SB 452 does not expand the size of the program. It simply expands the universe of low-performing schools that may take advantage of the law. The bill's simply a matter of fairness. These schools deserve to have access to parent empowerment as much, if not more, than some of the other schools on the current list. To date, communities like Adelanto, Compton, and Los Angeles have already benefited from the historic law. With this bill, it's my hope that others can have access to the law as well, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote. I do have witnesses in support.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Hi, Madam Chair. My name is Ben Austin. I'm the Executive Director of Parent Revolution. We are here to support the bill. I would like to talk with you for a few minutes about why we support the bill, but also give you some context for how the bill has been implemented. I should start by saying that it's an honor to sit here before you, Madam Chair, in this committee, because this was the first legislative body to pass out and to have the courage to pass out the historic parent trigger law that has led to the kind of transformative change that we've seen in Southern California and seen spread throughout the country. This law, as you all know, gives parents for the first time real power over the educational destiny of their own children. It makes public schools more public by forcing them to be responsive to the parents and children and communities that they are designed to serve. This bill makes minor technical administrative fixes that are just common sense. It makes the SIG schools eligible for parent trigger. As Senator Huff referenced, it doesn't change the overall cap of 75 schools that are ultimately eligible, but it makes the worst schools in California, the schools this law is designed to help, it makes them eligible for the parent trigger. And it switches the parent trigger eligibility requirements from a very complicated and anachronistic federal accountability system to our own in California. That's all this bill does. This conversation, though, is happening in a broader context. The Parent Empowerment Law, better known as the Parent Trigger, has been now successfully used twice. The first was at a tiny school in the middle of the Mojave Desert called Desert Trails Elementary School. These parents were trapped in a systemically failing school that nobody in this room would voluntarily send their own children to. A school where the average kid had a 4% chance of ultimately graduating and going to college. These parents organized for 18 months. They collected signatures representing 70% of the parents in their school. They turned in their signatures demanding change, and the amount of blowback they got from that was truly unimaginable. Many parents had their immigration status used against them to bully them into rescinding their signatures. As you all know, this went to court not once but twice. Many of the arguments, frankly, that the opposition has raised, they were raised in a court of law with rules of evidence, with a judge hearing both sides, and they sided with the parents because the parents were in compliance with the law and the parents were demanding what any parent would want, a better school for their kid. They ultimately won last January, and Desert Trails Elementary School will now open up as a newly transformed, high-performing charter school that serves all kids this fall. Now, yesterday, just yesterday, the LAUSD made history, approving the first ever parent trigger in the Los Angeles Unified School District. But this was a very different story. As you'll hear soon from two parents who are sitting next to me, the Desert Trails campaign was an 18-month campaign with 2 lawsuits and a tremendous amount of drama. This was a 3-month campaign with unity and harmony and all sides working together for the betterment of the kids. 24th Street Elementary School became the first time in the history of America that a school district has voluntarily complied with the law and verified a parent trigger petition without being forced to do so with a court order. It was the first time a district has submitted its own proposal to win back the right to run a systemically failing school. That is a paradigm shift, and it is of great credit to the leadership of the LAUSD. It is the first time in history that a charter school and a district school will now be partnering together to serve an entire attendance boundary together and turn around a failing school. That has literally never happened before in the history of the LAUSD, and it took parents having power to force all of the adult interests to sit in a room together and work out a plan that serves all kids. Now, this is a historic moment. And it is a moment that exists because of the leadership of this committee, the leadership of this body, and because of the courage of the parents I'm sitting with. And we ask for your support, not to harm adult interests, but to make these public schools serve the interests of kids just like my public school does. Just yesterday, I dropped my daughter Fiona off at our local elementary school. The day before, I volunteered in her class. I've, with joy, watched as my teachers taught her how to read. And many of the parents, I live in a nice neighborhood in West Los Angeles, and many of the parents who attend our local elementary school look like I do. And they walk around with a tremendous amount of power that they just take for granted. It's just like breathing. Now, the parents at 24th Street Elementary School, this is an objectively horrible school, and nobody on any side of this issue has ever argued otherwise. But it's not just statistics. It's not just API scores. As these parents can tell you, problems, unimaginable problems like dead animals rotting all across the campus have festered for years. If there's a dead animal on my daughter's campus, it would be cleaned up before any parent ever noticed. And so fundamentally, what this is about giving all parents the power that parents like I and parents like many of us in this room enjoy on a regular basis and take for granted. The last thing I would say is that many times when people think about the parent trigger law, they think about empowerment in the context of parents signing a petition. These parents did that. They organized their community. But it went far beyond that. They elected a review committee. The way the parent trigger law works under the State Board of Education regulations is it allows the parents to run their own RFP process. And that's what they did. They got eight proposals to turn around their school. They narrowed it down to 2, the district proposal and a high-quality charter. And these parents then sent a letter to the district and the charter operator saying that we understand that never in the history of the LAUSD have a charter and a district worked together to serve the same attendance boundary, but we want you to try. And it took these parents using their power in sophisticated and subtle ways that I would imagine you guys use your power. They were using their power on behalf of the educational destiny of their own children, and yesterday they made history. So we sit here humbly and ask for your aye vote, and thank you again for your committee's leadership to make this law possible.
Thank you. Next.
Buenos días, legisladores y senadores. Mi nombre es Alicia Méndez, soy representante de la 24 de Los Ángeles.
Oh, the red dot needs to be alive.
Ah.
Oh, there you go.
Just shut it off.
The red button.
Good morning, Senators. My name is Alicia Mendez, and I represent the 24th Street Elementary
Yo
School.
soy una madre, soy representante de la Unión de Padres de la Escuela 24.
I am a representative of the Union of Parents of Elementary School, 24th Elementary School.
Hace 7 años los padres veníamos luchando por tener una mejor escuela.
7 years ago, our parents, we the parents, were fighting to have a better school.
Ya que la escuela se encontraba con muchos problemas con los niños,
The school had many problems with the children.
no habían beneficios para ellos, la escuela estaba sucia,
There were no benefits for them. The schools were dirty.
habíamos colectado muchas firmas, nunca habían sido escuchados nuestros problemas.
We were able to get lots of signatures, but our voices were never heard. Our problems were never heard.
Habíamos tocado muchas puertas, los padres éramos ignorados,
We knocked many doors, but us parents, we were very much ignored.
hasta que un día Tiger Parents se acercó a nosotros y nos educó cómo seguir.
Until one day, Tiger Parents came to us and listened to us.
Fue la única opción, cómo nos educamos, cómo abrir puertas, cómo juntar firmas para que sea escuchada nuestra voz.
This was the only way that we were able to be heard, how to gather signatures and how to be listened to.
Esta Tiger Parents ha sido la medicina que los niños de esa escuela necesitaban.
Parent Trigger, or Parent Revolution, is the medicine that we needed so that we could be heard.
La ley nomás nos ayudó a educarnos, a tener un mundo mejor, ya que con esta ley pudimos alcanzar algo que nunca habíamos escuchado ayer.
This law was our vehicle to be listened as we were not listened to before.
Y tal vez lloro porque la cara de los niños que vimos ayer fueron felices y dijeron, por fin escucharon la voz de esta escuela que necesitaba ayuda.
And I cry when I see the faces of the children that were asking to be heard, and now that they are.
Lo único que nosotros queríamos es que alguien nos escuchara y la única voz fue Tiger Parents, la que nos educó y pudimos llegar a obtener una escuela mejor.
And we were just wanting to be heard, and we were thankful that Parent Trigger were here to listen to us, and now we will be heard.
Sin esta ley, hay muchos padres ahorita que se sienten encerrados, frustrados, con muchos problemas dentro de las escuelas de California.
Without this law, many parents feel frustrated, locked out, and not heard in California.
La ley es nomás es tocar una puerta y que escuchen la voz de los padres, porque existen muchos problemas dentro de las escuelas y los niños no tienen voz.
The law is to be heard so that when we knock on the door, we can be listened to, because children have no voice at this time.
Yo le digo que juntos con esta ley, los padres y los estudiantes, podemos tener un mundo mejor y
Together with this law, the children and the parents, we could have a better world.
y así como yo luché por tener el mejor futuro a mis hijos,
And just as I fought to gain a better life for our children,
también luché por 600 estudiantes que pedían auxilio, una ayuda por esa escuela.
I also fought in favor of 600 students who wanted a better school.
Y mis niños de Los Ángeles también son sus niños, pero necesitamos esta ley para que los padres sean escuchados nomás lo que está pasando en realidad.
And my children, our children, are your children, so that you could listen and see what the reality is.
Esta ley ha sido la mejor que nos ha escuchado a los padres. Gracias por haber escuchado mi voz.
This is the best law that has heard us. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Senators. My name is Esmeralda Chacon, and I'm here also representing 24th Street School. I have a child there. He's been there for a year already. And as I walked inside the school, I've seen many things that they weren't right. So this is how I decided to become part of the revolution, Parent Trigger now. And I'm gonna tell you just two stories, bad stories that I saw. I saw 4 children getting a little girl inside the restroom. I made a note to the principal telling her, you know what, you should have more supervision outside about this, that there's nobody outside on recess time or lunchtime taking care of these children, so they won't be doing such a things. I also saw the police coming inside, taking a child, one by the hand and the other one by the foot, with the feet, taking them out to the car. That was I never thought that was something reasonable to do as being adults, and the children are just children not being supervised, and that's the way they're acting. It's not appropriate because they don't have supervision of anybody there. But I saw those bad things going on, and I pay more attention because I come from, I used to live back in north side, and right there, the school, the district has everything under control. Everybody has more, there's more people being, you know, like help with more teachers, the principal coming outside since 7 o'clock, walking around the campus, talking to the children. And right here in 24, they didn't have that. They didn't have that, so I was like making the difference. If the district has the power to help here on Frank Delomo, why not on 24th Street? So I was like thinking my vote will count a lot, and by joining Parent Trigger, it has helped a lot of us and a lot of children, because we talked to our kids, telling them what we were doing, what were the changes coming up, and even we have some teachers coming forward to the children and telling them that what we were doing, it was wrong, because we were trying to take their jobs away, and they were being fired because our Parent Trigger making a revolution about what was going on. And like I told my child, you know what, we're not making that. We respect the fact that your teacher, it's a teacher, but they're not doing the way, you know, they don't have the hunger to come and teach you and be teaching you how to become a college graduate or a university, or even sitting down as a senator. I go like, hey, you need to just forget about what they're doing. If they come to do something bad to you, you just let me know. Just don't pay attention to whatever they're saying. But these children right now, they're very happy for what had happened, because we've been coming forward. You know, we've been sitting down from 7 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon, reading and making the right decision to make this happen. And already happened thanks to the help of Parent Revolution. Everybody there, the staff, teaching us how to do and proceed and talk, and not to be rude to people, just doing the right ways and having our limits, now going over them and being respectful to everybody, and with our hearts, helping the children for the better future for them, not for ourselves, but for them.
Great. Thank you very much.
If I could just add one small point, is that the tenor of the 24th Street campaign, where for the most part there was a low level of acrimony. We did not see the sort of activities we saw in Desert Trails, where parents' immigration status was being used against them. We didn't see the same kind of activity, and so I think it's very important to note that you know, these parents are courageous in terms of what they did, but it's also important to note that the LAUSD leadership deserves a tremendous amount of credit for how they've handled this, and the teachers union in Los Angeles, the UTLA, also deserves a tremendous amount of credit for how they've handled this. Both the district and UTLA have respected the law, respected the process, and respected the parents.
You know, on the previous bill, you're waiting for a report. I would submit to you today, we saw a report on action we took in this committee, in this institution a few years ago. You saw parents that have since been empowered and came in and told you how that played out. Did you hear the emotion in their voice? Did you put yourself in their shoes and understand what a dreadful thing that is to find your local school is not safe, it's not meeting your educational requirements? And they had no hope until this bill that we courageously passed out before helped address the needs, because they were able to go and work with their school district in a way they would not have been able to do before, because now they had power. And that's why this is called an Empowerment Act. We are empowering parents. How many times have we sat up around this dais and we've lamented that if only we could get parents more involved in their kids' education? And yet, that's what this bill does. Now, it doesn't change the number of schools that will impact. It's 75 schools. That's a lifetime cap. When it hits 75, the program's over, unless the institution chooses to move forward. But what it does do is broaden the base of schools that can exercise this. And just by us acting to broaden the base, we have given more parents like these that were here talking today the power to go and negotiate. Now, it started a revolution. The first couple of schools that tried this, it was chaotic, and you had testimony talking about how difficult that it was. Now, I did mention Compton. I think the record will reflect if we go back to it. They ended up creating a separate charter school. I'm sure the whole mechanics of it, I know it wasn't easy. Adelanto, they formed a charter school. This time, you had a lot less controversy, and they ended up going back with their own school district, but this time with authority. They said, what are you going to do for us? And they had the opportunity to choose something else. I think it's a good thing they chose LA Unified, because at the end of the day, we are all more powerful if our existing school districts can clean themselves up, can meet the needs of the parents. But what do we do when they don't? That's what this bill is about. It gives them another tool for them to accomplish what we've always said we want parents to do, which is get involved in their kids' education. So I understand some prejudice against this motion today. I don't think this needs to be a work in progress. I think today is the day. Broaden the base, give the parents the power they should have. I ask for your aye vote.